So here's the deal. I saw this in the store the other day. Richard's Rainwater. Honestly, I just saw that it said rainwater and I was like, well, somebody's bottling up rainwater now. We got to get that and try that. I thought that there's probably a story behind this and it's not just pure rainwater, but I figured we could dig into that together and I could do a little taste test for you, tell you what canned rainwater tastes like compared to the rainwater that fell out of the sky. So on the back of this thing, say hello to the water of tomorrow. I guess if it's going to rain tomorrow, it would be the water of tomorrow. Caught clean, bottled fresh, local everywhere, 100% rain. That's a fun claim. It's 100% rain. So, you know, just put a bucket out and it rained and then we put a hose to that and ran it into some cans. And we're going to sell this to you for $4. Okay? This is great. Look at this. Okay, so the contents, because the FDA requires you to put contents on here. The contents of this can is rain. It's not water, it's rain. All right, this is still, I think that they make sparkling rain too. I don't know how they get the sparkles into the rain. Let's find out. We catch rain before it touches the ground. Well, that's good. We never treat it with chemicals. That's why the ingredients are just rain. And that means using significantly less energy and not depleting the local water supply. All right, I know I'm kind of being really snarky in the beginning of this, but like this might be an actual great idea to capture the rainwater. The idea is that they collect rain locally so that they can bottle it locally and then ship it less distance to where you would purchase that. That's a pretty smart idea. And if they're capturing rain straight from the sky and not having to run it through anything else, then they're saving on energy, so it really could be helping the planet. Apparently the story goes that Richard, in 1994, set out to get cleaner rainwater for a ranch in Austin, Texas. And that grew into what they describe on the website as a movement, which, if it is becoming a movement, I think that that's fantastic. And that turned into canning and bottling Richard's rainwater. Okay, so there's more behind the story here. That rainwater is actually 100 times purer than any bottled water before they go through the purification process. Supposedly, something that comes from a spring actually has pollutants in it because it comes from groundwater, and whether those pollutants are natural like minerals or harmful like other stuff that humans have put in the ground and then it has seeped into that spring water, it still needs to be purified, whereas the rainwater doesn't need to be purified. So because it's so pure and clean, because it comes from the sky and never hits the ground, it doesn't pick up any contaminants that the ground has, and therefore it is cleaner than bottled water that comes from a spring. And they also make a point to say that most bottled water comes from a tap and has a lot of chemicals and chlorine, etc. in it to purify it. All right, without further ado, let's get into the taste test portion of this video where we pit Richard's rainwater, which, because I bought this in Queens and this is a local product, I'm assuming they caught it somewhere near here. If you can catch rain, if that's a thing. Collected rain, against the rainwater that fell from the sky directly over my house in Queens, New York. All right. It's got a normal can snap. Doesn't seem like anything special there. I didn't really expect that. All right, here we go. First sip of Richard's rainwater. You know, it's kind of funny. It's in my head for sure, but it does actually taste like rainwater as opposed to like bottled water or spring water, Perrier, Evian, name them all, whatever you got. It tastes a little different. It tastes a little, this is going to sound weird, flatter. Like, maybe there's just less minerals in it, is what that means, what that taste is. Yeah. So totally surprisingly, it tastes like rainwater. That, which I didn't think tasted different than other water, but we've learned something here today. Let's now go with the actual rainwater in comparison. While I still got the flavor on my palate, we're gonna now try the Queen's Fresh, if you will. It kind of tastes the same. It's a little similar. It's got that flat taste to it. I feel like Richard's is a little bit tastier. That could also be in my head because it fell out of the sky and I collected it. But I'm actually totally surprised. I didn't think that Richard's rainwater was going to taste much different than regular bottled water. I was surprised there, and I certainly didn't think it was going to taste better or different than the rainwater that came out of the sky, which it kind of doesn't, but at the same time it does taste a little bit different than that, a little bit better. Surprises all around in this video today, both for me and maybe for you too. Leave me a comment if you are as skeptical as I was, because I figured that some of you had a little bit of like, what the hell is going on here? He's collecting rainwater, putting it in a can. So now that we tasted Richard's rainwater against regular rainwater, I thought one other thing we would do was, because I have access to New York City tap water, I would taste Richard's against the most famous New York City tap water that they bottled. I don't even know if they still do it, but they bottled it a bunch of years ago and sold that like it was the greatest thing in the world. And it is really good water because of the way the reservoirs are set up here in New York State and how the pipeline pumps it down to all the boroughs and et cetera, et cetera. It's delicious water, and as tested by whoever tests water around the world, it's one of the best waters you can get, particularly in a city, but generally all over the world. So this never touches the ground. New York City water does touch the ground. That means there's minerals and other things like that in it, and it won't have as much of that flat taste. But what's better? So one more shot at Richard's. Really clean. It's like there's nothing in there. And I never really realized that. And now, I know this looks just like the other glass, but these are the glasses that I have. So I put a little bit of New York City tap in here, and let's see. Yeah, I never really realized that, but there's a lot more flavors in there. Granted, the minerals, perhaps a little chlorine, and I just don't realize it because I drink from the tap all the time because we have such good water. And now I've got Richard's that I could drink. Or maybe I'll get a big barrel with a hose and just collect my own rainwater. That's probably not going to happen. I'm going to finish this up because it's actually quite tasty and it's nice and cold. And cold rainwater is, you heard it here first, delicious. Maybe the best water that I've ever had. Let's not go that far. I've been to Iceland after all. Thanks for watching today's video. If you like this kind of stuff, hit subscribe, click the thumbs up, hit the bell, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And I'll see you on the next video. Uncle Peppy.